NCAA Tournament's here. The Paul Farrington Show Bracket Challenge is back out for members. We have the members only challenge that you can find in the link in the description. Winner's going to get a jersey. For anyone else, free to enter. Paul Farrington Show Bracket Challenge. Again, link in the description. Merch bundle to the winner. Last year we had over 250 people playing. If you're interested, again, free to enter. Merch bundle prize. Ziggy likes free things. Jax likes free things. Let's have some fun. Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul, joined by Jack Weinberger, Robert Ziggy Ziegler up at Harvard University, and a very special guest today. Our first two-time guest, I think, in the history of the Paul Farrington Show.
Yeah.
Hailing from Calabasas, California. He then took himself out, East Coast, Syracuse Orangemen alumni, at VSiN now. And last time we saw him, Ben had just started a relationship. He's now engaged to that girl. Congratulations, Ben.
Thank you.
Please welcome
Thank
in
you,
Ben
Paul.
Stevens.
Thank you, Paul. It's very kind. It's a lovely introduction. It's great to be the first time or first ever two-time guest on the Paul Farrington Show. This illustrious home studio you see behind me with the Big Ten pennants that we have here is actually our converted living room with said fiance who is sitting on the couch right now, but is asked to be left off the camera tonight. So it's been a very great trip to be here and to break down the 2026 Big Dance with you all.
I mean, year,
Calabasas is a way better place to live than New Jersey, so you're doing great. I grew up in Thousand Oaks, so I know.
Look at
You might not have to say it so these guys because they're New Jersey homers, but
Dr. Ziegler.
Well, look at
T.O., man.
look at
Stand
Ziggy.
up.
10 seconds in, he's knocking New Jersey. But Ben, it's good to see you again, man. My old coworker. It's been a while, and thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Jack, and it's great to see you again, as always. It is great that whenever there is a big sporting event, we are always talking. You are always giving me a Weinberger lock, the Jack lock of the day, whatever it turns out to be. And I have seen a lot of what you have done here on this beautiful program. And I am glad to see that the Jack lock of whatever it might be continues to be the same exact explanation, reasoning, and rationale behind it. So I'm proud of you, my friend, for sticking to your guns always.
Yes, I was going to say,
There's been no growth.
So a lot of our fans are fans of the Cap of the Week, and that started with when I was producing for Ben about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So
I mean, when you're red hot
4
like
years
that,
ago.
and you have fireworks night in Pittsburgh, how can you not put that on on television,
There you
right?
go.
I mean, it's like it's a gift, it's a gimme. So
Jack, was the first time ever that you were on air delivering it yourself in studio, where you were sitting in the commercial break when I was on air, but like could still see you out of the corner of my
And my
eye
legs were
as you were
shaking.
rehearsing your script, like mouthing the words to yourself? Was that ahead of a Sweet 16, like round of 64 games, something of the sort?
No, that was, and you'll remember it instantly, it was when I had the Cincinnati Bearcats
Oh, yes.
beating
Yes.
Alabama in the college
Yes.
football playoff.
Yes.
My first ever time on air, I gave out Cincinnati money line.
shaking.
Yeah.
I was nervous because I was
I
in
don't
front of
blame
a national audience live, like not recorded, and I was my legs were shaking. I'm like, and Ben's like during the break, he's like, Jack, come down, you got it, you're good.
Yeah.
But that was my first time on air.
And Alec,
I'm glad to see you're just as reliable now, Jack, as you were then.
Ziggy knows.
So this is usually an episode for us that we're typically an NFL podcast, but once a year we just love the NCAA tournament, and we do this show one time per year. One time we venture into the college sports world, and we hand out, I mean, gimmies. It's just automatic on this show, right?
Yeah.
Ben, I got a lot of flack last year. They call me Mr. Chalk. Like I really am as chalk as it gets. And last year that paid marvelous dividends. I mean, it was fantastic. But Ziggy and Jack won't give me my flowers. They continue to make fun of me. So they say I can't celebrate my 53-10 bracket, choosing the correct champion, Final Four.
We don't say that.
They just make fun of me nonstop here.
Paul.
I will say I'm pretty chalk again. What we're going to do, guys, we're going to go one region at a time, just like we did last year. One region at a time. One of us will break it down. Then we'll talk through it a little bit. It's great having Jack and Ben here because they truly are experts in the field. I have a lot of questions for them. And then at the end, we'll go from our Elite Eight to our national champion. And yeah, I mean, as far if you want to copy anyone's bracket, you can copy mine. I know, and hopefully that'll take you there. But I don't have the same feel like I did last year. I really thought last year's 1 seeds. Do you guys agree with this? I thought last year's 1 seeds were more powerful than any of them this season.
Well, this is my year.
Yeah,
You know, I've been seeing the board crystal clear.
this is Jack's season. All right, so why don't we start off? Let's start off with. I was going to start off with myself. Is that okay with everyone?
It is called the Paul Farrington
Go ahead.
show.
Yeah, a 53-10 bracket from a season ago. I feel like that does at least give you bragging rights and some dibs to lead off the bracket selections of 2026.
Yeah, I've really set the standard too high. I've bragged way too much. I need to be humbled here.
I mean, I'm out here knocking Paul. Meanwhile, like I had Clemson winning it all and McNeese crushed them. So I mean,
it's always fun riding with you though, Jack. Like that's one thing. It's always fun. It's always fun.
I got a whole squad on this year.
All right, Lauren, you ready for this? So we have special technology, good features, graphics on this. Go ahead, Lauren, punch it through. We're gonna go through. All right, you got to move over a little bit.
Can we get a round of applause for producer Warren? That was a seamless transition.
Yeah, I just got to move over here. Okay, so in the East region, we'll break it. I'll go fairly quick here. Duke, Siena, got Duke. Lauren, you good to go with this? Can you keep up? Nice.
Wow.
I'm going to go with Ohio State over TCU, St. John's over Northern Iowa. You're going to see why I'm so shocked. Kansas over Cal Baptist, though I will say the Cal Baptist guard is unbelievable. I like watching him play. I'll go South Florida over Louisville, Michigan State over North Dakota State, UCLA over UCF, and UConn over Furman. Into the round of 32, I'll go Duke over Ohio State, St. John's upsetting Kansas, then Michigan State to advance, and UConn. In the Sweet 16, we'll have Duke beat St. John's, though I know everyone's hot on the Johnnies at this point in time, fresh off. Jack had a great call of them in the Big East Championship, and I'll also go UConn. Setting up the 1-2 matchup, where I think the Blue Devils, the 1 seed, will go to the Final Four. And actually, I'm supposed to stop there. So yeah, don't say that. Yeah, don't listen to that, anyone.
Unclick that, Lauren. Unclick Duke. Unclick Duke.
All right. So when we bring it back out to everyone, Lauren, we show everyone on the screen here. When you guys see the East region, is there anything that jumps out to you here? Is Duke and UConn, are they the two clear favorites, or is there a sleeper to you?
Do you wanna go, Ben? Give your thoughts, or you want me to?
Well, first off, Paul, I just think from the idea of chalk maybe winning the day once again in 2026, there are numbers that I keep coming back to using the bright mind that is Kenneth Pomeroy and the Ken Palm efficiency metrics. And when you look at this year, as of Selection Sunday, where it stands right now, pre-NCAA tournament, there are 20 teams with a Ken Palm net rating of plus 25 or better. In the previous 10 years that we have seen an NCAA tournament, we have only had 3 seasons where there has been double-digit teams with a net rating on Selection Sunday of plus 25 or better. The most in the previous 10 years was a season ago. It was 14 teams plus 25 or better in terms of that Ken Palm net rating. And of course, it was the chalkiest tournament maybe in the history of all tournaments for the second time ever, all 4 1 seeds into the Final Four. But not just that, Paul, as you display with 1 versus 2 in that East Regional Final, Duke and UConn, we had 3 2 seeds into the Elite 8, and the other was a 3 seed where we had the higher seed in every matchup, all 12, Sweet 16 and Elite 8 wins. So I think the idea of chalk, as displayed in the East region, feels pretty sound to me. We might see some upsets earlier, round of 62 opening weekend, but I think as we go throughout the bracket, I still think chalk wins the day here in 2026.
And I think if there were a region to pick where if you had to pick going chalk in one region, I think it has got to be the East, relatively speaking. I know that St. John's in there as a 5 is probably an underseed, but setting that aside, even at like the 8-9, I think Ohio State has a significant edge over TCU. This is not the place to look, I think, for early round upsets.
So I'm a TCU guy. I'm a Jamie Dixon. I'm a Jamie Dixon fan.
Of course.
Grew up a Pitt fan, as you guys know. So I went TCU over Ohio State. But what sticks out to me here is, Paul, you have UConn in the Elite 8 against Duke. I'm a big Donovan Dent fan. UCLA Bruin. I like McCronin. I think the Big East was a little bit weak, whereas UCLA, they've beaten Illinois, they've beaten Michigan State. Donovan Dent, who went down against Purdue, he was held out for precautionary reasons, and now he's back for the big dance. I like the UCLA Bruins mainly because of just the battle test narrative over UConn in that round of 32. I have UCLA versus Michigan State in the Sweet 16. And the Johnnies, I do think, are underseeded as well. And keep an eye out for for Cal Baptist. I fear for Kansas because Cal Baptist is playing that game in San Diego, in California, which scares me a little bit. I do have Kansas advancing and playing St. John's, but the main thing that there is where you and I disagree is I have UCLA knocking UConn out pretty early.
I didn't love anything in the bottom half of this region. Louisville's playing without the guard. Michigan State is, I know they're a very good team, but I'm just not sold on them being. Last year, I felt great with Texas Tech as a 3 seed. Michigan State doesn't feel like a powerful 3 seed to me. And UConn, they've been good all year, but kind of faltering lately. And it just doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth when I see them get waxed in the Big East championship game. I just feel like I went with them to get to the Elite Eight because I look at the rest of the teams they go through. I'm just not in love with any of them. So I guess UCLA, if you love Dent, then it makes sense to, have an upset pick there. Ben, I have a question for you. When you're looking at St. John's and Kansas there, the 4s and the 5s, so many questions about Peterson all season long, like whether or not Kansas can pull it together. And St. John's, obviously looks great in the championship game, and they're a popular upset pick over Duke. Would one of those two teams, did they catch your attention at all to possibly get to the Elite Eight?
I think whatever you decide to do with Kansas is going to be wrong. If you have Kansas making it to the Elite Eight, they lose in the round of 64 to Dom Daniels and that Cal Baptist team seeing the big dance for the first time ever. Paul, that guard in Dom Daniels who hit those 2 clutch threes in the final 75 seconds, an absolute sharpshooter and a big game player. I love what he brings for this CBU side. St. John's concerns me a little bit because of what wins in the month of March often is really good guard play. St. John's has a great front court led by Zuby Ejiofor. They do not necessarily have that outstanding playmaking guard. They've got athleticism in the backcourt with Dylan Mitchell and the like, and Dylan Darling can get hot. I don't necessarily love what the Johnnies have on the offensive side. In fact, in my bracket, it's why I have Northern Iowa pulling off the upset as the 12 seed over the 5 seed in the Red Storm. Now, I'm not sure that's going to happen, but if you are looking at the Panthers under Ben Jacobson, who have made 4 NCAA tournament appearances under Jacobson, they have won at least a game in their previous 3. It could set up a Kansas UNI matchup in the round of 32. That would be a ton of fun. But this Northern Iowa team, 5th slowest in the country in terms of tempo. They are elite on the defensive side of the floor. Where they could struggle is with that front court of Zuby Ejiofor and Bryce Hopkins for the Johnnies, and that length and athleticism down low could be an issue. But if there was a matchup for Northern Iowa stylistically where I think they might be able to stay in an ugly, muck it up type of game and maybe prevail at the end, it would be against a team like St. John's. I think St. John's ultimately wins that round of 64 matchup. I'll have a little bit of fun for an upset in that opening round, taking the Panthers of Northern Iowa.
That is fun. Go ahead, Jack.
St. John's has kind of screwed me all year. I went to their first home game in the Garden when they played Alabama. I took St. John's. I think we were minus like 4.5. There was hype coming into the year, and Bama waxed them. Then a couple weeks back, I went to the Prudential Center when they played Seton Hall to close out the Big East regular season. I'm like, you know what? Seton Hall's on the bubble. This is a huge game for them. Revenge spot. They lost by 5 the first game. I think Seton Hall comes out here as a 5-point dog and wins this game outright against St. John's, and St. John's ends up winning by 7 on the road. So I don't know what to make. I think St. John's is a solid team, but whatever I do on St. John's, the opposite tends to happen. I do have them in the Sweet 16, and I have Duke over them. So knowing that St. John's will beat them, but I'm not a huge St. John's guy, just for personal reasons.
Yeah. Jack, it scares me, by the way, because I also have UCLA beating UConn in the round of 32 in my bracket. So the fact that you and I are like-minded, my friend, always makes me a little bit worrisome.
Well, no, that's 2 great college basketball minds on the same side.
Yeah, sure. But for all the reasons, I mean, listen, Donovan Dent is a great reason. Traveling to Philadelphia and playing in the Eastern time zone against Connecticut, that really scares me when it comes to Mick Cronin basketball. We'll see. I think as St. John's put on display in the Big East Championship game on Saturday inside the Garden, if you can put a lot of defensive pressure on UConn, their offensive woes start to rear their ugly head. Now, UCLA hasn't been nearly as grinded out defensively this year as you would expect out of a Mick Cronin basketball team. But if they can get to that intensity in the round of 32 because of all they have offensively, Donovan Dent, leading scorer Tyler Bilodeau, didn't play in the semifinal matchup against Purdue either, but expected to be back for the NCAA tournament. That's where I think UCLA can prevail.
Mm-hmm. I have two more just quick questions, then we'll move on to Jack in the West region. Ziggy, I'm going to ask you, and I have no idea if you know this, Ziggy. So I'm going to ask you, just because I want to hear it, do you also have USF over Louisville? Because that just seems to be one of the trendiest upset picks of the first round.
Look, it's a trendy upset pick, and I get it. People are saying that USF is getting disrespected because they're a mid-major. They should have been seated higher. But I think sometimes in March, people get overexcited with the trendy upset pick and realize that it is, in fact, an upset pick. I'm taking Louisville to win this one. I think they're just the better basketball team. I'm not going to pick a team that hasn't been to the tournament in a decade or more. I think Louisville's got the experience playing with good teams to handle USF handily.
Do you know who South Florida has? They got Tobin Anderson.
Tobin Anderson, yeah, he's a legend.
They got our boy.
Yeah, that's great. If he's playing a guy who's a legend, if they're playing a guy who's a legend to you, then you can comfortably pencil in.
Did you know that, Ben? Did you know Tobin was over at South Florida right now?
I knew that he was riding with Brian Hodgson. I hope Brian Hodgson is the next head coach of Syracuse, and I know Tobin Anderson's getting another shot at Tennessee Tech. Man, I love it for Tobin Anderson.
Yeah,
an absolute legend of the game.
We're Tobin guys.
Do we know if Michael Brown Jr. is playing in that USF game?
I believe they expect him back.
If he's back, then I think it's going to be a
Is the pronunciation Mickle?
It's probably Mikkel, but
it's certainly not Mickle. But it's Michael, but yeah I like Mickle.
Look, it's if you're going to go IKEL, it's like nickel. It's right there.
South Florida, they have won 12 in a row. I mean, they're coming in hot.
Good team.
That means they're due to lose.
Final question, Ben. Final question. I'll ask you, Ben. The Blue Devil injuries, right, to Caleb Foster, their starting guard, and Nanga, right, or Nangba, their center.
Nangba.
Yeah. Is that concerning enough that if someone's feeling like I don't want to take the 1 seed, I'd like to venture out there, is that enough to you? Because Duke's been so good all year. I feel like they win the ACC championship. Sorry, Ziggy. I feel like I have to move them on. But are those injuries concerning enough that you think they could come back to bite them?
John Shire expects Patrick Gungba to be back for the NCAA tournament. That's going to be really big. He is depth. He is athleticism. He is a great rim defender as well. I am more concerned, Paul, about the loss of Caleb Foster.
Because he's out
point guard.
Whole tournament,
he orchestrates everything.
He's out for the year, I believe, right?
They think he could be back. If they may, I think it would be Final Four weekend.
Okay.
That would be the earliest of his return. I can't remember exactly what the injury is. I think it's a calf. I don't exactly remember.
His knee, I thought I saw.
Yeah.
Broken foot. I'm saying broken foot.
Yeah, which doesn't exactly sound like the quickest timetable, at least, to be at full spirits and playing in any meaningful basketball. That's the one that concerns me. But I think when you have that happen prior to the big dance and you have conference tournament week in Charlotte, and I think we saw Caden Boozer play his best game maybe of the year, but is certainly in the ACC tournament in that championship game against UVA. So that can only be a beneficial thing for Duke moving forward.
Got it. Yeah, a lot of key injuries here in the East region. From Foster to
but you got to be happy that Caden Boozer got a few minutes to play before this. Like, if he were playing his first real important game of the season starting this weekend, I think it would be a different story. But getting that experience in the ACC tournament, you could tell he improved as things went on.
Yeah. All right, let's continue with our fancy graphics. Lauren, can we throw up the West region and Jack on the screen? Look at that. That is great.
This is why I was engaged to you, producer Lauren, because you can do stuff like this.
Hi, producer Lauren. We're going in the upper right section here. Go ahead, Jack.
Peep the shirt, by the way.
Yeah, peep the spoiler.
I have LIU. Malachi Davis is one of the best guards in the country. He's the next Dimitri Roberts.
Ben's going to leave the Zoom.
That's not actually true, right?
My dad grew up on Long Island, so I think that's a great pick.
My dad has a degree from LIU.
Before the Sharks era, though, before Fins Up, that doesn't count.
I've been a Fins Up guy before Fins Up even existed.
If Tobin Anderson were at LIU, I'd respect it.
If Malachi Davis was a Power 5 guard,
all right.
No, I got Arizona, but close. They don't cover. I have Utah State. I think the Big East is terrible.
Boo.
I have High Point. I love that 25-year-old shooter who doesn't miss. I have Arkansas with the best guard I've seen since John Wall. I have BYU, the Zags, and I have Mizzou over Miami and Purdue over Queens. Then I got Arizona over Utah State. I got Arkansas over High Point. I got BYU with the bandson Rob Wright over the Zags. And I got Purdue over Mizzou. I got the Razorbacks of Arkansas beating Arizona in the Sweet 16.
You good?
Sorry, I've had some bourbon old fashions. Then I have Purdue over BYU.
All right, so you set up the Arkansas Purdue.
So then I got an Arkansas Purdue
in the Elite Eight
matchup. Yep.
Ben, I'd like to tell you something real quick before we get into this. My brother went to Villanova. My sister, who's producing, went to Wisconsin.
Wow.
So I'm a Notre Dame guy. We just don't even need to talk about. Like, we don't need to talk about that. I think Jack went out of his way to pick Utah State and High Point just to kind of have a little dig right there.
Yeah, to take a slight of the Farrington family.
Yeah, like at the entire family.
Now listen.
Well, I used to date Paul's sister. Now she broke up with me, so it's a little.
Hold on a second.
That never happened. Okay.
She's producing this show right now, so you speak kindly on her name.
Yes,
and doing a
Only one
fantastic
of
job.
us has ever
She
dated
is
Lauren.
fantastic.
It's me. who was
Lauren doesn't
engaged.
have a mic
So take
right
it
now,
easy.
but she is just screamed no. I don't know if you could hear that, Ben.
Can we, Ziggy? What do you? I'm not on the Paul Farrington the show's bubble right now. You were.
This is not a joke. This is not a bit. I was engaged to Lauren, and then it ended acrimoniously, and she won't give me the ring back that I'm legally entitled to.
Lauren is yelling fake ring. It was a fake ring joke.
In what way? It had her birthstone. In what way was it fake?
Lauren, you can unmute yourself if you want to say something. It's the red button. This is why Ben comes on the show. Go ahead. You can hit that button if you'd like to say something. Yeah.
Am I unmuted?
You're unmuted.
You are.
I have nothing but respect and joyfulness in my heart when I think about our previous relationship. I love the ring.
I'm sure you do.
I
sure you
wear
do.
it to this day. I also would like to note, Ziggy brought this up. I did not bring it up.
Only one of us did the emotional work in that relationship, so it makes sense. It was a great time for you.
We have only had one recurring guest on this show, if you can't tell, by the way.
And I don't know nearly enough of what I should background wise before walking into the Paul Farrington show and understanding the dynamics at play here.
I do have one question actually
chances
about
he's
this.
back for a
Take
third
it back
is
to
low.
basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Is Rod
good
Strickland
deflection.
going to be able to play for LIU? Because if Rod Strickland can get in the game, they might have a chance.
They're gonna win.
Can he get Kyrie to use some of? He's Kyrie's godfather. Can he use some of that Kyrie eligibility on this game?
Or some sage, burn it, let the Sharks go. Listen, I don't mind, Jack, that you like LIU in that spot. And you are correct. They have a lot of talent and a lot of athleticism. I think Arizona wins it. Jack, so listen, Lauren, you went to Wisconsin, correct?
Yes.
Jack wearing his Arkansas shirt, Woo Pig Suey, calling the Hogs, all that good stuff. I think the Badgers knock out Jack's national champion in the round of 32.
Is that just a Big Ten Ben bias?
No, I actually was waiting to pick against Wisconsin in the NCAA tournament because I thought they were going to be that team that some people who don't watch a lot of college basketball see, who scores a ton of points now, and they can shoot the three, and they've won some huge games this year. I was waiting to pick against them, but I actually think the two teams they are playing play exactly the Badgers style, where I think Wisconsin does it ever so slightly better. High Point turns you over. Wisconsin is the best non-turnover team in the Big Ten. Arkansas is the best team in terms of taking care of the basketball in the country. Wisconsin is third best, and they all play the same tempo. Wisconsin needs to play games in the 80s. They have played 21 games in the 80s this year. They are perfect at 21-0 in those games. I thought if they played a slower team like a St. Mary's or something of the sort, and it was an ugly game, 70 points or fewer, that's where Wisconsin was going to struggle. I actually think they got two teams that they are playing in the first two rounds that will allow them to see the second weekend for the first time since 2017.
So where Wisconsin. I mean, obviously they have the wins over Michigan, wins over Illinois, and it's not a fun 5 seed to see in the round of 32. I like Nick Boyd. I like Blackwell. Nick Boyd, a Jersey kid, actually a rival of our high school. I think Wisconsin thrives in the backcourt with those two, and they have seen a lot of good guard play in the Big Ten. they've seen Braden Smith and they've beaten them. They've seen a lottery pick in Wagler and they've beaten them. I do not know if they've seen quite as good as Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas. I think I would take those two, and I would take the supporting cast of the Razorbacks, specifically Billy Richmond and Trayvon Brazile and Nick Pringle, guys with that tournament experience. I think outside of the guard play, I would give this slight edge to Arkansas, which makes me like them on a neutral floor. Do I love that game against Wisconsin? No, I think they're a solid team. I think the Razorbacks find a way to get past them, though.
Well, you've been saying that Acuff is the best guard. The other day, Ben, Jack was saying, he's like, you guys have to watch Acuff play. And we'd seen him a couple times, but I never really sat down and watched an Arkansas game this year. Our buddy Mike said, he's like, you have to do this. It's an experience. And Jack just kept repeating, best guard I've seen since John Wall. Best guard I've seen since John Wall, over and over and over again. And it's funny now seeing all these Instagram reels and posts coming out that's ranking Acuff, amongst the latest guards in college basketball recent history. I mean, he's unbelievable to watch. Like, can you see a world where that Arkansas team can get hot and go on a run?
To Jack's point, it makes me laugh when he says best guard I've seen since John Wall, because that is just such a Jack thing to say constantly, to make that statement. But he's not wrong. Darius Acuff might be the best player in college basketball. We've talked Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, AJ Bonsa. I really think Darius Acuff might be the best player that we are going to see translate to the NBA level. So it would not surprise me if the Hogs continue to stay hot because of a guy in Darius Acuff, who was the first freshman in the SEC to average 22 points and 6 dimes per game since Pistol Pete Maravich. We saw that on full display with 30 and 11 to lead Arkansas to their first SEC tournament title in 2.5 decades. So yeah, he is that good. He is deserving of the praise, and he is deserving perhaps of even being claimed by Jack Weinberger as the best guard in college basketball since John Wall.
I mean,
look,
it took a fool to pick against Kemba Walker. It took a fool to pick against Derrick Rose. And it takes a fool to pick against Darius Acuff.
He almost got me, Ben. He almost wrote me in.
Weinberger. Still got your fastball, kid. Paint in black.
Today, Jack walks downstairs. He goes, I can't wait for Saturday night when me, my brother, and he just lists off 5 different guys that he's convinced Arkansas is going to win. Yeah. And I went, you know what? I've been there. I've walked in that minefield before. And it's a fun place to be until it goes off. Until you have Blackwell hit a 3.
We'll be there for Arkansas High Point Saturday night.
Yeah, High Point. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that.
Another shot at Lauren.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have Purdue for the first time in years. I'll have a non-1 seed going to the Final Four. I'm not sure if I've convinced myself, but as of right now, I'm thinking Purdue. With they were kind of up and down, right, for a lot of the season, but that Big Ten tournament looks so good. I think I'm going to talk myself into putting them into the Final Four. Is there any problems with that?
Not by me. I have them in the Elite 8 at least. I have Arizona winning the national championship. I don't know if that's burying Elite or anything, but I have Arizona winning the national championship. So I have them winning the West region, but I have them beating Purdue in the Elite 8 to do just that.
Do you guys like, BYU? I feel like all year they've underachieved from the beginning of the season. I watched them, right? Brother went to Villanova, opening game of the season. That Nova BYU game was a lot of fun. And as BYU kind of put it on them towards the end of the game, it's like, man, this team could really be something. And obviously the Saunders injury sucks. And you wonder how that could have gone differently. But do you guys feel like outside of DeBanza, I feel Rob Ray, I almost forgot he's on the team. And maybe that's just because I don't watch a lot of BYU basketball, but I thought last year at Baylor, he was going to be a superstar this year. And am I wrong? Has he been good?
Well, yeah, right. The Saunders injury stinks. BYU, the Big 12 was a total gauntlet. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've played Houston, they've played Iowa State, and it's like playing NBA teams. When I watch AJ DeBanza in certain games, I mean, he's making $8 million to play at BYU for 1 season. And certain games, he's been awesome. But I get a feeling with guys like him and guys like Darren Peterson, where, this is the opposite of how I see Acuff and how I see Cameron Boozer and how I see Wagler at Illinois, and a lot of these other freshmen. Some of these freshmen seem to me like they just care more to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Like they care more about the uniform they have on at the moment. And AJ DeBanza to me and BYU to me they've had that certain feel in a lot of these games where AJ's looking at his money and his future and
oh wow, shots at AJ DeBanza.
Well, no,
right
I'm not trying to take shots at him, but it's
sounds like
a lot of these. This is why I don't love to pick a lot of these freshmen. I don't feel like I think they're just looking to the future.
Other than Akoff.
Sometimes you're so good that looking to the future doesn't matter.
Akoff's an exception.
I'm just thinking like a lot of these guys are just use this as their 1 year and then sooner in the NBA. And DeBanza, like I kind of get that vibe from him. More
Didn't
so than
he
I do
just
from
break the scoring record in the Big 12 tournament?
He's been playing basically 40 minutes a night since Richie Saunders got injured about a month and a half ago, but sure.
I don't argue with genius. I don't, at least. So, okay, so you got Arkansas and Purdue in the Elite Eight right now. That'll take us. We're making everyone wait for the Ben region, which is just going to be highlighters out.
Yo, say the best for last.
Throw your Sharpie away. You don't need to X anything out. Ziggy, don't know if I can say the same for you. Let's go through it in the
that seems totally unjustified, but it's okay. The history's going to prove me right sooner rather than later, and visionaries are always looked upon with disdain in their own time. I'm waiting for it to cut over so that I can stop this monologue and start giving locks of the century. There we go. First, Michigan's going to win. I don't need to say anything here. That's going to be pretty easy. Georgia SLU is a game that's getting a whole lot of attention. St. Louis is a very popular pick. People love Robbie Avila. I do too. But Georgia's going to win this one. Somto Cyril is just too good at defense. He's going to shut down that transition offense that SLU is known for. That's going to be a problem. I'm going to take Texas Tech over Akron. I really have no idea how to pick this one. So we'll go Texas Tech. I'm sure other people have more insightful things to say. Bama's going to beat Hofstra. I like this Alabama team. I've liked them for a while. Tennessee is going to be able to get it done. Virginia Wright State is an upset everyone wants to call. Look, I was banging the drum when I was at UVA that Furman was going to win that game. I know this UVA team inside and out. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you Wright State simply does not have what it takes to beat UVA. UVA is going to dominate them easily. Kentucky over Santa Clara. I'm taking the big, strong team. Tennessee State is not going to beat Iowa State.
Wow,
We'll take Iowa State.
I was like, what is about to happen here? I thought you were going Tennessee State.
Michigan beats Georgia. Michigan's better than Georgia. It's that simple. Alabama beats Texas Tech. They're better than Texas Tech. It's that simple. Tennessee, I'd love to see Tennessee beat Virginia in some ways, even though I'm a student at UVA. Unfortunately, Tennessee is just too banged up. I know that they've been able to get some people back from injury in the SEC tournament. Obviously, Nate Ament played and looked pretty good, but Virginia's going to be able to gut this one out. They take care of business on defense. Kentucky, Iowa State. Iowa State wins. Their Achilles heel will not be revealed until they play Virginia in this round. And do I give one more round of picks, Paul? I can't remember.
Yeah, one more to the Elite Eight.
Elite Eight. Michigan's going to beat Alabama. And, Virginia, Iowa State, everybody wants to take Iowa State to win this game. Iowa State is higher in the much vaunted Ken Pomeroy rankings. But there's one thing the Ken Pomeroy rankings don't consider besides heart. Actually, the Ken Pomeroy rankings do consider this, but we'll set that aside. It's free throw percentage. Iowa is 342nd in the country in free throw percentage against a suffocating defense like UVA. This means UVA can foul you with impunity. They can do whatever they want. And you know that if they're sinking 68% of their free throws, folks, 2 people on this team shoot over 70% from the charity stripe. That is unacceptable when you're going deep into the rounds of March Madness. I'm unbiased. UVA crushes this.
All right,
basically
Ziggy.
In the Elite Eight.
Nice job, Ziggy. That was very enjoyable to listen to.
Look, I think they had Duke up against the ropes a couple days ago.
Oh, so in the past 2 brackets now, maybe we see a 4 seed in Arkansas, UVA, Michigan. I mean, we'll have to see in a few moments here.
All right, now everyone tell me why I'm wrong.
Go ahead, Ben. Why don't you take the first step? What do you think of UVA over Iowa State? Because Jack's a big Iowa State guy. What do you guys think of that?
I'm also a big Iowa State guy. I think Iowa State would win that game. I do think we could see that game in, I guess, what would be the Sweet 16, Ziggy. But I do like Iowa State in that game because of its defense. I've watched a lot of Virginia this year. I love what Ryan Odom does. Incredibly balanced and efficient on both sides of the basketball. I would trust the Cyclones just a little bit more with guys like Tamin Lipsey, Milan Momcilovic shooting the crap out of the basketball and being good from three. I don't hate what you're saying. I like to fade the Who's at every chance I get. I do think Virginia at least gets to the Sweet 16.
I had Iowa State as my champ 2 years ago. I think I was a bit early on him when Tamin was a sophomore and Mankulovic, who I like to call him Dirk 2.0, was a freshman.
Yeah.
But I think this year Iowa State makes some serious noise. I mean, a top 5 defensive team, top 5 3-point shooting team. And what makes them super dangerous is a couple years ago, they had the defense, but they lacked the scoring.
Yep.
And Illinois and Terrence Shannon took advantage of them in the Sweet 16. This year, Iowa State now, with those guys, Lipsey and Jefferson, a superstar, and Mankulovic, they can also score. So I think this team is going to be a problem for UVA in that Sweet 16. I have Iowa State actually in my Final Four.
I'm with you on Iowa State over Virginia for exactly the reasons you said. One other thing, Ziggy, you're forgetting about Virginia. They went to double overtime with Notre Dame. Anyone who goes to double overtime with Notre Dame is just off my board for an Elite Eight. And there's no offense. I mean, no offense to UVA. Great season. You get to the ACC championship, play with Duke, but I mean, yeah, no Burton. No Burton.
People are saying play with Duke like they didn't clobber Miami by 22 either. Like this UVA team can play basketball.
I mean, Notre Dame didn't make the ACC tournament. But so anyway, I have Iowa State going there. In the upper half of this region, I'm actually really disappointed with JT Toppin. Jack's younger brother was all over Texas Tech the entire season. They were his team. And the more I watched them, especially with that Arizona game, right? We watched it at your house. They win, massive win. And you sit back, you're like, oh my God, Texas Tech could be one of those teams that, I mean, they're ready to go on a run here, especially after last season, the heartbreak against Florida. I thought that Toppin injury, it truly is season crushing. And it's so unfortunate because they could have gone on a run. And now the news this morning, right? We're recording Monday night, and Aiden Holloway is gets arrested,
yeah,
for weed. So it's just a disappointing, way that bracket filled out. But I think Michigan can go on a run here to the Elite Eight. All right, let's throw it over.
I'm a little worried though after LJ Carson's went down. Michigan's 0-5 against the spread. They played a lot of close games. Michigan, I think, before the LJ Carson ACL injury, was primed to just dominate. They were probably my number one going into the tournament, maybe number two. I am interested to see how they adapt.
Why don't we take it over now to Ben for the South region?
All right, we're firing away. Here we go. Florida wins that first one, although I would love to see Lehigh get out of that play-in game. I like Iowa over Clemson. I know it looks like I'm looking to the opposite side of where the bracket is, but that's where my screen is showing the bracket. So just so we can make sure we clear that up visually. I like Iowa and Clemson in a very slow-paced game. I think a lot of people might look at McNeese in the 12 spot. I think Vandy's underseeded. Love what Tyler Tanner is doing. Love Mark Byington in year 2. Give me Vandy. We have on the Nebraska Cornhusker shirt.
There it is.
Nebraska is going to make program history and finally win a game in the NCAA tournament. Love Phil Martelli Jr. and VCU. Give me the Rams over the Caleb Wilson-less North Carolina Tar Heels. Fran McCaffrey, welcome back to Big Ten country, but give me Illinois over Penn. We'll take St. Mary's in the battle of styles. Buckyball goes fast and presses the crap out of you. St. Mary's slow, contrived. I'll take the Gales. And then I like Houston as well. They're in the round of 64 over Idaho. Back to the top. Florida beats Iowa. Nebraska doesn't win just one game finally in the big dance. They win 2. Give me the Huskers over the Doors. We like Illinois over VCU, Houston over St. Mary's. Again, we're looking pretty chalky there. All 4 of the top seeds in this portion of the bracket.
Looks great.
In the second weekend.
Speaking your language.
Give me Florida over Nebraska, Houston over Illinois, and then that's where I will leave it at the Elite Eight.
And Ben, I know you have like 5 minutes here, so we'll be good with this.
Speed it along.
Do you think any problem with Florida, Houston being in Houston? A lot of people are upset about that.
No, because you can't really plan for what is even likely to happen when you come to your selection criteria and your principles, I think, in terms of bracketing.
Mhm.
I don't have an issue with it by any means. Purdue could play if they get to the Final Four in Indianapolis. That would be basically a home game. Last year in the round of 16, it was in Indianapolis between Purdue and Houston. It was basically a home game for the Boilermakers. I think it's just the luck of the draw that if Houston sees the second weekend, they were placed in the South region. This is what they get to take advantage of.
Mhm.
I think it would be awesome to see the national championship game rematch. And just slightly spoiler alert, I think the Cougs would get the better of the Gators this time around.
Houston's not getting there because they're losing to VCU.
Should we go over?
Okay, listen, Ziggy, if you were going to pick any other team to knock off the Cougs, I like that one of all of them.
Look, Virginia supremacy. That's what we do here.
All right, yeah, let's.
Should we go over our natty picks?
Yeah, let's hop into our Elite Eights here. Lauren, yeah, let's see some more graphic skills. Yeah, go ahead, throw me up. We'll do the same order. We'll go me, Jack, Ziggy, and then Ben, ending with the right answer probably.
Very quick.
Okay, so I have here in the Elite Eight, I'm going to go with Duke over the Yukon Huskies. On the other side of the bracket, I'm going to go with Purdue over Arizona, although Jack might convince me into Arkansas at some point. And then Lauren, if you could scroll down a little bit, we'll go with. This is where I'm really torn. I'm going to go with Florida over Houston. I think they're going to break their hearts again in Houston. Just a monstrous team, the Gators, and the team that made me a lot of money last year. And then I'm going to go with Michigan over Iowa State. So I have 3 1s and a 2. In the Final Four, I'll go Florida over Duke to return to the national championship. I'll take Michigan to get to the Natty. Michigan's a great team. No one's talking about them right now. And I'll take Florida to beat Michigan because I hate Michigan. I can't see the Wolverines. So I'm gonna have Florida repeating
back to back,
trying to do it again.
That's horrible.
Yeah, I know. People hate that. But they were a hot team up until Vandy beat the shit out of them. So, Jack, why don't we throw it over to your picks here?
All right, so I got my Final Four is Arkansas over Iowa State, and then I have Houston over Duke.
Oh, your Elite Eight team. So your Elite Eight team. Your Elite Eight
You
picks.
skipped around, Jack.
Skipped around.
Well,
Lauren was
sorry.
very confused.
I'm sorry, pressed for time here, but I have Arkansas beating Purdue. I have Iowa State beating Michigan.
Yeah, Duke. Or you got who you got in the East?
Then I have Duke in the East, and I have Houston in the West. So I looked at my Final Four.
You are making this so
There you go.
Then I have
It's
I have Arkansas, Houston in the national championship game.
Michigan or was it Iowa?
No, it's Iowa
I
State.
think he had
Iowa
Iowa
State. Who do you have in the
State.
Iowa
Midwest?
State.
Yeah.
I don't have the bracket filled out in pen, but I have
Listen,
it in my.
as
There you go.
As
And
a
your
former
final-
producer that I hope helped craft his craft during the days working together at Sports Grid, we hate to see what we just saw.
Tough to watch.
Jack Weinberger.
Tough to
It's all
watch.
right. There's my Final Four, and I have Arkansas beating Houston in the final. Just real quick, it'll be a 10 seconds for a social clip. I've been on this team since November. I was texting in November. This guy Darius Jacob is the best since Derrick Rose, the best since Kemba Walker. They're 60-1 to cut down the nets. That means you put $100 to win 6,000. A generational guard, a team who's beaten Texas Tech with JT Toppin, a team who's gone wire to wire with Duke, the SEC champions, tournament experience with Tavon Brazil and Billy Richmond. And Arkansas, to me, a Hall of Fame coach, is the bet of the tournament at 60-1 to cut down the nets.
Sold. Why don't we do Ben since he's got a minute here?
Ben,
Lauren, can you
rattle
throw
it
Ben
off.
over here?
Rattle it off.
I'll rattle off. I'll just say this. I tried to call out Jack today when he said he likes the Hogs. And I was like, oh, somebody watched the SEC tournament title game on Sunday and loves Arkansas. He went right back to the text asking me to come on this show for the March Madness bracket reveal and all the picks
Weeks ago.
from the end of February with Arkansas at 40-1. It made me quickly eat crow and eat my words. Jack Weinberger, always keeping receipts. All right. We are going to go, Lauren, in proper order. So you're not scrolling all over the place.
My bad.
We got Duke over Michigan State in an Elite Eight rematch in DC from 2019. Although shout out Kenny Goins, an absolute legend for the Spartans. Arizona over Purdue. And then we'll go South region, Houston over Florida. They get the revenge from the Natty last year. Michigan over Iowa State. So like you, Paul, I have 3 1s and a 2 in my Final Four. We're going to take Duke over Houston. Some more revenge from a Final Four spot a season ago. Arizona over Michigan. And then I have Arizona winning the national championship for the first time since
Finally do.
1997. Be the first time a West Coast team, by the way, and that was also the Cats, win a national championship in the NCAA tournament since 97.
Yeah, that's. I mean, Arizona's been amazing all year. Look, you throw up everyone. Ben, we'll let you go and then we'll finish up. Unless,
finish up.
Yeah, because you got a hit to do.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you very much,
gentlemen,
for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here. I am glad I am the first ever 2-time recurring guest on the Paul Farrington Show. Thank you for having me and enjoyed it all.
Thank you so much
Thanks
for coming.
on,
Maybe 3 times next year. Maybe this time next year we make it 3.
Run it back.
2027 big dance. You got my number. I'll be here.
Awesome. All right. Good luck with your
Appreciate
hit on
See you guys.
VSiN. See you later. Lauren, can you throw up Ziggy's? Can you throw up Ziggy's bracket here?
Yeah, who you got here, Ziggy?
Okay, now that he's gone, this is sort of screwed up. So we're gonna do our best here. What do we got? The real experts here. We got UConn over Kansas, free money. Arizona over Gonzaga, free money. You can scroll down. Look, everybody's hot on Michigan. Paul's hot on Michigan, but here's the problem with Michigan. They've still got injuries. I'm taking UVA to win that one. And I'll take Nebraska over Houston. I don't know why. I know the bracket I filled out said Houston over Nebraska, but the way Ben talked about Nebraska, it just has me believing in this team for no good reason. UConn wins their game against Nebraska. UVA beats Arizona. Why? Well, Arizona's bigger. They're talented. They're probably better coached. But UVA, I'm not on campus anymore, which means my curse is over, which means my students get to see a win. So the University of Virginia, for the first time in a few years, brings a national championship back to Virginia. Go Hoos, baby!
That is awesome, Ziggy.
So
I'm proud of that answer.
We got
right there.
Paul with Florida.
You know what? No, hold on. Lauren, cut back to the whole thing. Where's Paul? Where did Paul go?
Paul left to fix you.
Yeah.
And I read.
Jack, you're going to be with me on this. I do not want to hear you, Paul Farrington, say you're proud of me for making a homer pick. I don't want to hear it because you're Mr. Chalk. Oh, I just pick 1s and 2s.
Well, I can be proud of you. I can be proud of you for doing it.
Different. You're like, oh, Ziggy, that's so brave of you.
It is brave. Yeah, I mean, like it won't win, but I'm happy for
you.
I don't want to be called brave by a coward.
Look at me.
You don't know what bravery is.
This is where I can't believe Ben is gone.
Look at me taking all the ones.
I can't believe. I'm going to send him this clip. I don't even know. You'll have to send me the number because this is exactly what I'm talking about. Immediately, as soon as Ben's gone, I just ran through the gutter for being right.
Yeah, because you're no fun.
It was fun.
Paul, it doesn't matter if you're right if you're a coward.
It's not that fun. You're a coward.
It wasn't a coward when you get it all right.
No, like I don't.
Oh, this is why you work at the volume.
This is This is why
it can't feel good to win, but like everybody else also wins.
No, I won. I won the pools, and that felt great
because it doesn't matter if you win. Winning the pool, it doesn't matter. What matters is being virtuous, doing the right thing, and Chalk is not doing the right thing.
Unmute yourself, Lauren, please.
Whether or not you're a good person. So some people think money's more important than character and virtue, right? Some people are just greedy and will want to win at all costs.
Well, I feel like if you're putting your bracket in a tournament where the goal is to win, then you should.
No, the goal is to pick the best bracket, Lauren.
Yes, the best bracket.
That's what I did.
I think quite literally best. You think that the richest person is the best because they have the most money?
In this instance,
Ziggy,
I believe
you don't understand what the norms are.
No,
that's
but Ziggy just said picking the best bracket's the point.
But you think the best bracket is the bracket that gets the most games correct, and that's not true. The best bracket is the bracket a virtuous person would pick. Mm-hmm. And virtuous people don't pick chalks.
God, yap.
No. The best bracket is the bracket that ends up winning, which nobody else has, which will be me this year.
Well, that's a great bracket when it happens, but it's hard to do that. I have no problem. Listen. We could talk about virtue all we want. If my bracket goes perfect again with all my 1 seeds, I have no problem.
Oh, would you sell your soul for a perfect bracket?
No, I don't think I'd sell my soul for
That's what you do when you pick chalk every year.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to ask you, because we had to kind of rapid fire through that, and I know some people are listening to the show and actually using it to inform their picks. There were a couple...
Which is foolish.
Not necessarily.
Unless you're listening to Ben Stevens, then it's not foolish.
Or me.
I felt last year...
Or me, honestly.
Yeah,
anybody but you.
I'd be lying if I said I feel like I have a great beat on it this year. Last year, I really did feel pretty confident, and it was reflected. But this year, it's kind of... I feel like it's a little more room for upset. The seeds are closer to get. What's so funny about this? What is so funny about this?
It's funny that you say that when we opened our show of like 10 minutes about there's not going to be upsets.
No, I was just laughing. Oh. I'm a few old fashions deep. At my brother's banquet, I had a good time.
I was trying to. Isn't your how old?
So are you guys going to listen to this drunken lunatic or someone who won his pool?
I called out sick tomorrow. So anyway, I was just laughing. I was just laughing, Paul, when we were talking event. So a couple days ago, we're watching that conference semifinal game here on Paul's couch.
Oh, Cal Baptist?
Well, Paul's half asleep. And this guard has a couple good baskets.
Cal Baptist is the guard. The guard is electrifying. He won the conference player of the year.
And a couple days later, Paul comes on. He's like, I love watching that. I mean, that guard is so good. I love watching that guard.
He's amazing. Dominique Daniels Jr., 5th leading scorer in the country. I did my research on this guy. He is good.
I was just laughing at that.
He can play.
He can.
He can really play. I don't know if it's enough. Someone disrespected him. I think it might have been Rothstein. No. Some other CBS guy came on and said, we'll see what happens when he runs into a real guard like Darren Peterson. I was like, whoa. I will not take any what's his name? Dominique Daniels Jr. slander. I love this guy. Player of the year in his conference.
I think they'll win the first round.
So I did want to ask, because again, we had to kind of speed through that last bracket there with
Matt Allen's here is looking quite good.
With Ben. Jack, when you look at that one, do you see Vanderbilt and Florida being on a collision course in the Sweet 16?
Yeah, I do. I was high on Nebraska early on in the season. They got off to a rapid
20-0,
start,
right?
Rapid start, top 7 team in the country.
Yeah.
Winning games I didn't expect them to win. But this Vanderbilt squad as of late, and I wanted to ask Ben this, we ran out of time. I do tend to like teams, with the exception this year with Arkansas, but I do tend to like teams who are off of, a tough loss that stings a bit in their conference tournament, and that is Vanderbilt. Wins over Tennessee twice. Like, this team is good. I don't see McNeese giving them a problem. I do have Vanderbilt playing Florida in that rematch of the SEC semifinals. However, I do think that's a horrible spot for Vandy. Like, getting Florida again after you just embarrassed them on national TV in that SEC tournament. So I do have Florida knocking out Vanderbilt. But yes, I do have that Florida Vandy Sweet 16 game.
Florida is my national champion, and
that's horrible.
I reserve the right to change that pick. Well, why is that horrible?
Florida's the weakest 1 seed by a mile. If you're going chalk, you might as well pick one of the 3 good ones.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'm not chalk then. We can't have it both ways, guys. It's either I'm chalk or I'm not.
No, you're a crappy chalk.
Yeah.
So Florida before that Vanderbilt beatdown, and it really was a beatdown. Had won 12 in a row, one of the hottest teams in the country. And that was sparked, right, by a change in their 3-point shooting. They went from 349 out of 356 3-point shooting up to 65th in the country since February. I mean, they were horrible to start the year, and they were still, a very good team, highly ranked. But that's part of that surge that we've seen. What I'd be really excited to see in a Vanderbilt Florida rematch, and I feel pretty confident that collision course is going to happen. Duke Miles is back for Vanderbilt, right? Guy who's averaging 16 points a game. The Florida defense has been really good all season long. Vandy's hung 90 plus on them 2 times. So maybe they've just figured them out. If there was one, that would be a pick. If I didn't enjoy rooting for Florida, and, I got some cousins who went there. I enjoy texting them during the tournament.
I don't see Vandy pulling off the upset against Florida.
I don't think it will happen either, but it's something to just pay attention to. And then Houston, obviously, I mean, they're just a bunch of dogs on Houston, and they have so much experience winning. That rematch of Houston, Florida, in Houston, right? Same city where Florida beat them in the national championship. It's another hard place to see Florida going and winning. Like, Florida's got a tough path. I recognize that. That's a tough game that they'd have.
You're picking the worst 1 seed of the toughest path, and you're saying, that's my champion.
I don't see.
It's all about feeling, Ziggy. It's all about feeling.
I don't see Florida winning that eventual game against Houston. Like, I think Houston gets back to the national championship. I love Kingston Flemings. I think either way, they lost last year. A big lead over Florida in that championship game. Well, it was 9 or 10 points. and ended up losing a heartbreaker. I do believe that Kelvin Sampson gets one very soon. Like, they've been knocking on the door.
It doesn't feel like this is the team, though, to me.
They could very well. This team is awesome.
They're a very good team.
This team is awesome.
But this does not feel like the Houston team to do it. I don't think they're as good defensively as they normally are.
This is the only Houston team with a lottery
they're
pick
not
in the
as
last 5 years.
It is, but there's really no depth to them.
It doesn't matter.
And I think Tugler gets himself in foul trouble all the time. Florida's so big. I think they'll dominate Houston. Like, this is a weird spot where Florida would dominate Houston inside.
Depth to me is the most overrated thing of all time in the tournament. It's the most overrated thing ever. Arkansas plays 7 guys. I love that. Like, I think depth is so overrated.
I just think that
Houston they're all for national
I
championship.
can just see a world where Florida and Houston play this game. Tugler's in foul trouble, and Florida's dominating them inside. Can you see that?
I think Houston's a better team than Florida.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. To each their own.
But like, I have Houston in that final event, losing to the eventual champs. But
got it. Okay. I just wanted to talk through that region because I know we kind of had to speed through it. And one final question, Ziggy, that I wanted to ask you from your region that we didn't get to. A big storyline was Miami, Ohio, getting in at 31-1, right? Undefeated up until they lose to our good buddy Matty A. He's wearing a sweater. University of Massachusetts. UMass beats them in the first round of their conference tournament. The 8th seeded UMass. So, were you happy with that? Seeing them be the last team in?
Look, people sometimes make these tournament selections sound like a matter of justice. If you're not good enough to be like a lock in one of the first 58 teams selected, I don't feel sorry for you. So go ahead, throw in 31-1 Miami, Ohio. That's fine.
You know what the funny thing is?
It would have been bad, I think, if they did.
It's like the college football playoff. If you can't decisively be in when there's 12 teams in the field, you have no grounds to complain when you're not included.
Well, to be fair, I mean, Miami, Ohio isn't like the co-favorite to win the NCAA tournament.
I do think that Miami at 31-1 deserves a bid. Like, I think in a 68-team field, if you win 31 games out of your 32, you should be in.
Some people really thought no.
But the funny thing is look at the first 2 teams out. It's Auburn and Oklahoma. Auburn has a road win in Florida. Oklahoma plays in the SEC against Arkansas and Florida and Vanderbilt. It's like, if you pin these 2 teams together, you know the result.
Miami beat Akron.
But that's exactly. Yeah. That is
actually their best win of the year. Is Akron.
But I mean, it's
31-1. To me, you go 31-0, you lose one game, a bad loss. No offense, Matt, but
like, beating nobody and losing to Massachusetts is terrible.
Yes, but 31-0 is enough.
So I had no problem.
If they had one more loss, they're not in this thing.
I had no problem either way.
But 31-0, yeah, I'm okay. Like, a lot of all 4 12 seeds are ranked higher per Ken Palm. And Hofstra's also ranked higher than Miami, Ohio. So that's just a fun storyline of the tournament. That now it would be magical if they go and win a couple here. That'd be pretty fun.
You know, the interesting thing to note about the Miami, Ohio selection is Miami, Ohio was not the last team selected. Like, they were the last team in on the seed list when they did the seeding, but when they were picking teams to pick, Miami, Ohio was not actually the last team in.
Who was last in?
They didn't say.
Oh, I didn't say. Okay. I love doing this show though. So I got Florida. Jack's got Arkansas, Ziggy with UVA, and then we had Ben with Arizona. So if you let us know if you're riding with any of the guys, what your picks are. Again, a very
Actually,
important.
I was wrong. SMU was the last team chosen. That's my bad.
SMU, gotcha. It's amazing how much Ben knows. It's actually just crazy. If we had more time,
we didn't pump any of his knowledge really on the show because the wells of his knowledge are so deep. Like, we don't know anything.
I don't know. I felt like we got a lot.
It's like when you have Andy Herman on talking about the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
you can ask him 100 questions about the Green Bay Packers. There's 200 more you could have asked.
His knowledge is nuts. Yeah. Like, he could talk college basketball and like bring up names for 3 hours that I've never even.
But you know what's fun about this tournament and this bracket prediction is, like, you can know as much as you want. It gives you basically no advantage when it comes to picking teams.
Yeah, that is true.
Like, actually knowing what happens in the sport does not seem to correlate with better results.
Perfect example is you last year.
No, I just had an unreal read on it.
But that's the thing, right? You didn't have an unreal read because you're like better at assessing college basketball than 99.9.
No, I just tapped into. There was some sort of divine intervention.
Have you ever read Contra Academicos and Dave McGee show Augustine's two great dialogues on the origin of knowledge?
No, but
That's what happened to you.
Yeah, I'm telling you right
The
now.
incorporeal light of the noose and the beam activated, and it was just.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now. I don't feel the same read as I did last year. Go watch last year's show, and it's amazing. It's probably the best individual analysis I've ever given.
This is my year.
I feel it's your year. I hope it's your year. I think Acuff can do it. He's that good, and he's fun to watch too. And you know what? Everyone should hop on with Jack. Was it Woo Pig Suey?
I got my whole fourth grade.
You don't know Woo Pig Suey, Paul?
Ziggy, I got my whole fourth grade class today walking around the halls going.
I'm pretty sure this is what they complain about on the news when they talk about teachers indoctrinating their students.
Yeah, it's a problem. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, and we'll be back with some more football content later this week. Enjoy the games and let us know. Again, join our tournament as well. Paul Farrington Show on ESPN. If you're a member,
link in description.
Yep, link in the description. Members only tournament as well. You can win a jersey. It's free to enter all of these, right? If you're a member, it's free to enter. I guess you're kind of paying. And if you're just a regular fan, then join in merch bundle to the winner. We can't wait to have some fun this week. We'll see you soon.